Hi everyone, this is Adrian from OddsWizz, and today we're having another practical tutorial on making predictions. We have a very interesting match, Manchester City versus Manchester United. It's a classic. In order to make things more interesting, we are going to show a couple of approaches to make prediction for this type of match. So stay tuned. Before we start looking at the stats and making predictions for the matches that we selected, I want to show you two files that I use to make my own prediction and determine the value bets. On the left side of the screen there is an odds calculator file that is using the Poisson distribution. This file is offered for free on oddswizz.com website. There is a link in the description pointing to a video that explains how to use it and what's the basis for this model. If you don't know what it is, all you need to know at this moment is that based on the average numbers of goals scored by the home team and by the away team, the calculator will determine odds for various types of bets. On the right side of the screen there is a file that I made for my personal use in order to come up with the average numbers of goals scored by the home team and by the away team. I use all the stats offered by OddsWizz: attack, force, defense, strength and shape, and I place different importances on each of them. I will fill out these cells and in the end I will end up with some numbers here that I will plug in the OddsWizz calculator, which will determine the odds. And if I provide the bookmaker's odds, then I will get to see the value of the bets and the Kelly criterion. So let's analyze the matches. As I said at the beginning of the video, in this game we're going to do something special. We usually have a procedure that we follow while making predictions, basically finding similar matches based on attack, defense and shape, and trying to come up with some goals here in order to end up with some average goals scored that afterwards we plug into the OddsWizz stats calculator. But this time we're doing something different. The first and the most simple way you can use the OddsWizz stats to make prediction is just take into account all the previous matches between these two teams where the Manchester City was a host. We see these are the scores. If we plug them into this file, we'll see that there are 2, 3, 7, 9. That is 9 goals in 6 matches for Manchester City, and for United is 3, 4, 5, 8. So it's 8 in 6 matches. And these numbers we plug in the calculator. It's 1.5 and 1.33, and we end up with this payouts. And compared to the payouts offered by bookmakers, 1.36, 5, and 7.92. We have two value bets, a draw and a win for Manchester United, which, if you look at the actual results, is understandable because most of the matches were won by Manchester United. So that's the most simple way. Now we have another way of looking at the OddsWizz stats in order to calculate some average goals that we can plug into the Poisson Odds calculator. And for this I made a different sheet. Here I will record the goals scored and received by Manchester City and Manchester United where they played the same opponent. Here, as you can see, I mouse over the matches and I see that Manchester City and United played Chelsea 1-0 for City and 2-2 for United. I go here and say Chelsea 1-0 2-2. Now I try to find another match, Burnley against Burnley, Manchester City, Burnley 5-0 and 2-0. Newcastle, Brighton, Southampton, Brighton. Okay, so against Brighton, Manchester City had 2-0 and 0-1. And let's see if we find another match. Again, Brighton. Now we have some goals. I have the average here, and I can plug them into the Poisson Odds calculator. Put here 2.66 and 1.33. The difference between the goals scored is very big. However, the Poisson Odds calculator provides us with these odds for a win for Manchester City. This is for a draw, and this is for a win on United. As you can see, these two bets are pretty close to the payouts offered by the bookmakers, and we have a value bet for a win, a Manchester United win. I would suggest placing a bet on Manchester United. At least this is how the calculator tells us to, based on the input we provide here. As usual, everything depends on the input that you provide to the model. The model works in a certain way. It has some assumptions. You can read more about the model in the link that is in the description of this video. But the idea is that you have to test different scenarios on how you build the input data for the model, and then try to be consistent in the way that you choose how to bet. If you think that the model is wrong and is consistently wrong, you can use this information and decide to bet against the suggestion of the model. So for example, if you make tests over 100 matches and you see that the way you compute the average goals after you plug them into the model is consistently wrong, then you can take that into account when you place the bet. I think that's enough for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our content, please like the video, comment and share it with your friends. If you want to see more football prediction videos, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. See you next time.